guys, it's CloudyPop here, and welcome to my first review. And for my first review today, I am going to be reviewing Animal Well. I know I'm like super late for this game, but I just wanted to make sure I had a great review ready for you guys, and this is my first review, so it took a little bit. I have just beaten Animal Well, and I have loved it. And it was an amazing experience. So in this game, you play as this ugly little dude, and you explore the beautiful world of Animal Well while platforming and doing puzzles. A little fun fact about me is that I love Metroidvanias. So when I found out this was a Metroidvania, I had to keep my eyes on it, and I instantly bought it day one. This game obviously is a platformer Metroidvania, and the big twist of the game, and super unique aspect of this game, is that it's a Metroidvania without combat. Such a great idea for a game, and this game executes the idea perfectly. I am shocked that it took just one indie developer to come up with an idea like this and do it so amazingly well on their first try, and that hasn't been done by a bigger company before. This game is truly an amazing experience. So let's just jump into it. Let's talk about the gameplay first. As I said, it's a Metroidvania, so you're going to be doing a little backtracking and basically going to be finding items, coming back to places, and using them to open up new areas. But since it doesn't have any combat, it really hones in and focuses on the platforming and puzzle aspects, which I really like, because I feel like a lot of Metroidvanias have the platforming but don't really focus much on it at all. Like Metroid, there is platforming, but it really is in the background, and you don't really notice it. You're just doing your standard jumping around all these disconnected platforms. But in this game, it feels like there's always some really good platforming, no matter what. And it has a lot of tough type platforming sections in the game. Like for example, there's areas where you gotta get to a location and you're being chased. So it calls for some really precise platforming and really kind of forces you to learn and master the layout of some of these areas of the map. Overall, the platforming is just so fun, and it's at many times challenging. And I really appreciate them putting more focus on platforming in this game than in other Metroidvanias. Now onto the puzzles. This game has some of the best puzzles in the gaming industry as a whole, to be honest. This game has such smart, forward-thinking puzzles that will constantly have you scratching your head, but what I like about them is that they're never too confusing, to the point where you're just getting frustrated, getting mad, or it never even makes you feel like putting the game down. Like, I feel like some puzzle games will just be so confusing and have you contemplating bringing up a walkthrough, or just looking up the answer to a puzzle, or just stop playing and never come back. I've never had that problem with this game. The puzzles are good and really challenging, but they are never outright just super confusing and too hard. The game's puzzles are just so much fun, and this game just gives me an amazing feeling of accomplishment whenever I do complete a puzzle or some precise platforming. One of the best things about this game is that it's just immensely satisfying. It's just super satisfying completing a puzzle, getting past a hard platforming section. It's just so satisfying. And it's one of the most satisfying games I've ever played in general. One of the main reasons the puzzles and platforming is so great in this game is because of the amazing items you will get in this game. I fucking love the items in this game. They're so cool and unique, but at the same time, they're simple items. I don't want to spoil too much, but for example, they have items like the yo-yo and the bubble wand. Since the game doesn't have combat, all these items are used for platforming and puzzle purposes. They are what make the puzzles and platforming just so fun and interesting. Like, let's take the bubble wand for example. You use the bubble wand, it's used to place a bubble that you can stand on, but while you stand on it, it floats downwards. And it just opens up so many possibilities and options for the platforming in this game, and just makes it super fun. And it's also probably going to be an amazing item for speedrunners. I've already like cheesed some areas just by using the bubble wand. It's just such a unique and fun item to use. Then you also have the yo-yo, which is more of a puzzle focused item, but it has multiple uses. Like, you can use it to reach far out switches, but it also can be used to push certain things around as well as other uses. It really helps make the puzzles more engaging and fun, and the design is just so good thanks to these great items. And another thing I love about these items is I feel like I was always finding a new use for them and new traits about them as I played more of the game. Like, I for the yo-yo, for example, I found a new use for the yo-yo when I was super close to the end of the game. This game never stops bringing new ideas and puzzles into the game, and it just keeps the game feeling refreshing with there never being a low point in the game. Next, I gotta talk about the map real quick. The map is your best friend. If you are ever stuck or you think you're missing any secrets, just pull up that map and look around for any secrets or pathways. It really is great at distinguishing places you haven't been to or secrets that are in the world with just by using the map. And don't be scared to just leave an area and explore somewhere else if you get stuck. It's likely that you might need a new item to get through a puzzle, and what's good about this game is there's multiple different areas to go to and make progress to. So if you just get stuck somewhere, there's always something else you can do, and you don't just have to keep banging your head against the wall for just a single puzzle. The music in this game is also great, which you're probably hearing in the background right now. It's a nice, soothing, and ambient soundtrack, and it really adds to the mystery and mystique of the game and its world, and it just fits the game so well. The graphics and art style of this game are also super stunning. Like, I love the pixel art for this game, and it has some of the best pixel art in the industry right now. The game's so beautiful, the ways the color pop and the art direction is amazing, and it is what makes this game stand out from other pixel art games. It just has great color and art direction. The music and art style just really add to the atmosphere that Animal Hell has as well. It's a very mysterious and somber atmosphere, but at times, like at the end of the game, the atmosphere and visuals of the game can be very creepy and very unsettling. This game is just phenomenal, man. It reminds me of back in the day during the early era of Nintendo Switch, where I feel like indies were getting so much love, and I was always hearing about them. Like, there were so many amazing indie games dropping around that time that were stacking up to the big AAA releases in the industry. Like, for example, Celeste, Hollow Knight, Stardew Valley, and more. It was just such an amazing time to be tapped into the indie games, and I was loving it. I was playing most of them. Don't get me wrong, there's been many great indie games since then, and they're releasing all the time. It's just that eventually I just got so caught up into AAA gaming that I stopped playing a lot of indie games. And Animal Well has really made me appreciate indie games more, and really has encouraged me to go and just start looking for and playing more indie games. Because indie games are such a fresh breath of air, always trying new things, while AAA is starting to get repetitive and safe and stagnant sometimes. And this year has been so good for indie games and smaller games in general, with great stuff constantly coming out like Another Crab's Treasure, Penny's Big Breakaway, Crow's Country, Animal Well, and so many more. Just the day that Animal Well released had so many great indies, and I encourage everybody to be on the lookout and try more indie titles, especially if you only play these AAA games. And I recommend going on Twitter. On Twitter you can find so many people making indie games. You can see so many projects, cool ideas. Twitter just shows a lot of indie games. I just go looking on there and find something that intrigues you. I found many things this past week that I thought were cool and bookmarked. There's just so much great indie games coming out, and I feel like everyone to go and play some more indie games. At the end of the day, Animal Well is truly a phenomenal and memorable experience, and is just an eye-opener and a reminder of how great and creative that indie games are. Also, I have to give a huge shout out to Big Mode and Donkey, and especially Billy Basso, who is the sole developer of this game, and has been working on this game for years at this point. You guys have made something truly special here. And with that being said, the best way to describe Animal Well is that if it is like if Halo 2 met Halo 3. I give this game a 10 out of 10. It's a masterpiece, and other Metroidvanias should strive to be as good as this game is. Well, that's the end of the video. I hope you liked it, and if you liked it, hit the like button, and a subscribe would also be greatly appreciated. It's been CloudyPop. Peace out.